All right, so let's dive into this pile of articles and research you sent about AI beta security, and what's got Australians a little spooked about it all, I guess.
Yeah, seems pretty timely, right?
Definitely seems like it.
Yeah, and one thing that really jumps out is this report about how Australians are even more on edge about AI's impact on data security than like the US or the UK.
Okay, so unpack that a bit. Why all the Aussie AI anxiety? This isn't some, theoretical tech debate. This is hitting people where it hurts their data. And according to this report, a full 83% of Australians see AI as a straight up risk to data protection.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's
It
huge.
is, and it gets even kind of, I don't know, more intense.
Yeah.
93% are worried AI will actually make securing data harder, not easier.
Wow. So the thing that's supposed to be helping us stay safe online might be making us more vulnerable.
That's the worry, right?
And then to top it all off, almost everyone, we're talking 90% here, want to know exactly who their data is being shared with, which, let's be honest, is kind of a big ask in this day and age.
It's true. We're constantly handing over data, often without even realizing it. It's just part of how things work now.
So why are Australians particularly sensitive to this?
Well, they've always been pretty quick to jump on new tech trends, right? You look at something like cloud spending, they were ahead of the curve. And being ahead of the curve like that means you might see the potential downsides sooner than others.
It's like being the first one to try a new roller coaster. You're also the first one to find out if it makes you sick.
Exactly. And in this case, the roller coaster is AI, and those potential downsides are starting to become clear.
So with all this anxiety, swirling around about data security, you were also curious about companies that are really trying to tackle this head on right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where we bump into this company called Cohesity.
Right.
And they're all about this AI-powered data security. And they've got some new leadership in Australia and New Zealand. So we've got Kit Beale kind of leading the charge there as Global Chief Revenue Officer. And he's got a serious resume. Like, this guy's been with VMware, Cisco, like the big dogs.
And then you've got Paul Hennigan, who's the new managing director down in Australia and New Zealand. And what's interesting there is he's got this track record of success both in Asia Pacific and over in Europe and Middle East Africa. So bringing a really global perspective.
Okay, so a real power duo there. But what are they actually doing to combat this ransomware threat? I mean, it seems like we hear about these attacks every other day.
Yeah, it's relentless, and it can be really devastating. I mean, just to back up for a second, ransomware is basically where these criminals hold your data hostage until you pay up. And what Cohesity's really focus on is making these attacks way less appealing to the bad guys. They're all about data protection, making sure that it's resilient and that companies can recover quickly if they do get hit. And a big part of their approach is this idea of immutable backups, which I know sounds very technical.
Yeah, break that down for me.
Okay, so picture this. You know those spy movies where it takes like 3 people to turn a key at the same time to launch a missile or whatever?
Right, to prevent any one person from launching it by accident.
Exactly. It's kind of like immutable backups are designed to be tamper-proof. So even if someone hacks into the system, they can't just delete or change those backups.
So it's like a digital lock and key system for your data.
Exactly. And this is becoming more and more important because you've got things like the NIST cybersecurity framework and these upcoming regulations like DORA in Europe really pushing for this level of data protection, especially for industries like finance where the stakes are so high.
So Cohesity is kind of ahead of the curve here, anticipating where these regulations are headed. But it's not just about hackers, right? I mean, sometimes companies just lose data by accident, too.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, stuff happens, right? Files get deleted, the servers crash. It's not always some evil hacker mastermind.
It's true, and it happens more than you'd think. Actually, there's this stat in this research. Almost half of companies need more than 6 days to recover data and get back to business after some kind of incident.
6 days, that's like a whole work week.
I know, right? And get this, only 2% can recover within 24 hours. Wow. So there's a pretty big gap between how prepared companies think they are and what actually goes down in the real world.
Big time. And this is where Cohesity says they're different. Their whole system is designed differently than these old school backups. You know how when you need one book, you don't want to have to go to the library and check out the entire building?
Right. You just want that one book.
Exactly.
Oh.
Cohesity's like that. They let
Yeah.
you recover just the data you need when you need it.
So they're like the data equivalent of a search and rescue team, like zeroing in on exactly what's missing.
Precisely. And this speed and precision, this is why they work with some really big names,
Right.
major banks, airlines, that kind of thing, though obviously we can't name any names.
Right. Got to protect everyone's data, even when we're talking about protecting data. But it's not just about keeping data, locked up tight in some digital vault. It's about actually using it right. So what's Cohesity's take on that?
Oh, absolutely. Data isn't just about security. It's about insights making smarter decisions. And Cohesity gets that. They're moving beyond just storage and into this whole other area of helping companies actually understand their data. They've even got this product that analyzes what they call unstructured data. So that's stuff like PDFs, presentations, those files. They're usually just sitting there. And it helps identify trends, patterns, that kind of thing.
So it's like they're helping companies find hidden treasure buried in their own file cabinets.
That's a good way to put it. And, this all ties back into our conversation about AI. It can be this incredibly powerful tool, not just for, locking down data, but for making sense of it. But it all comes back to using it responsibly.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from those Aussie anxieties to some really cool tech solutions. For our listeners out there, what's the one big thing you want to leave them with?
I think the most important thing is for people to remember they have a voice. Consumers need to start demanding more transparency and control over their data.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask questions to really understand what you're signing up for when it comes to convenience versus privacy.
It's about being informed and making those choices yourself, not just blindly clicking accept on everything.
Exactly. This isn't a one-time thing either. This whole conversation about data privacy AI, it's going to keep going.
Yeah.
So stay curious, stay informed.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that wraps up our deep dive for today, everybody. Thanks to you for sending in this awesome stack of research and for digging into this with us. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe out there.